Hello, my name is Charlie Wildish, and in this video I want to talk about the alignment of the bones in a forearm when you're punching. Now, when I first become aware of this, although I'm mainly a karateka, that's my primary style, I've also done some other styles including Wing Chun. And one of the points the instructor made in one of the classes was that with a Wing Chun punch, when they punched like so, the bones are nice and straight. With a karate punch, he was saying the bones are twisted around each other as you go down the forearm, so it's not quite such a strong structure. Okay, and it got me thinking about it, you know, the bones being wrapped around each other. So yeah, it did kind of take me back a little bit. But when I actually stopped and thought about it, in the karate punch, when we actually hit a target, we normally make impact about there and twist into the target as we go through. We don't normally hit with a hand fully twisted. Well, we might do in competition because we're looking to hit skin deep. So in competition they probably do, but when you're actually looking to do a penetrating punch into your target, into your opponent, okay, normally you'd be hitting about there, either there or maybe 45 degrees round, and then you break their structure with the impact, and as you break their structure, then you twist those bones around each other. Okay? So that is quite an important point. Don't think that you twist the fist all the way around and then hit them. You're actually hitting about there where the bones are in proper alignment, okay, and the bones are straight. Now, there are photographs of Funakoshi where he's hitting a Maga, and you can actually see him. His hand is about 45 degrees this way rather than the full fist twist. What I would say, sometimes when you're hitting something like a Maga or something with a lot of resistance, sometimes you may kind of like hit it in the correct position, but because the thing doesn't give, you don't always have the ability to do the full twist. So I wouldn't worry about that. That's not really an issue. It's not really a problem. But just be aware that that's the alignment for the actual strike, the actual making contact. That is the alignment for actually driving through. Okay? I would like to talk about the hand position for elbow strikes. Now, you may say at first, well, why does it matter? Why is it important? I'll tell you why. If we just take like a straightforward roundhouse elbow, for example, where it's coming across and striking this way. Now, normally we'd have the palm facing downwards. Now, although we call it an elbow strike, a lot of the time we'd be striking with the lower forearm. Now, when your hand is in this position, the bone is forward, okay? So there with my fingertips, I can feel the bone, okay? If I rotate it that way, now the bone's gone underneath and the muscle has come to the front. So what do you want to hit with? The muscle or the bone? Okay, obviously the bone's going to do more damage to the target. Okay, it's the same when you do another strike. Okay, the hand is facing into my head, and again the bone comes to the top then. If I rotate it that way, the muscle comes to the top. Now, as a general rule of thumb, or should I say rule of little finger, you've got two bones going down your forearm, and they line up with the thumb and the little finger. Okay, so there's two bones going down there. So if you think when you're doing an elbow strike, the little finger shows where the bone is. So if I'm striking around this way, I want that little finger closest to the target. Okay, not even. Okay, I don't want them even. If I'm doing an upwards elbow strike, same principle. Because I'm coming upwards, the little finger is kind of closest to the target. Okay, and again that brings that bone in that position, because like I say, most of the time we're actually striking with the lower forearm as opposed to the actual elbow joint. In karate, taekwondo, tang soo do, many styles of kung fu, we normally strike with the big knuckles, and those are aligned through the forearm right up the shoulder. Some styles, like the Wing Chun, tend to hit with the small knuckles, okay? And again, they are aligned correctly when they do that. So whether you're hitting with those knuckles or these ones, you can see the alignment is slightly different, okay? Hit with those ones, hit with those ones. The wrist is in a different, slightly different position when you strike, okay? So how do you know which knuckles you should actually be hitting with? Now, a lot of people are automatically going to jump and say this one's or that one's, depending on what their style normally dictates. But even within like my style, Shotokan, there are sometimes I hit with those knuckles, sometimes I hit with those knuckles. Now, as a rule of thumb, is which knuckles are nearest the target. It's that simple, okay? So if I'm doing a classical corkscrew punch, okay, as I come in, bearing in mind we normally punch a little bit from the side coming into the target. So as I come in and I twist round, these knuckles are nearer the target. Okay, so I'd use these knuckles. If I was close in and just doing a short punch, then these knuckles are closer to the target. So I would align my wrist with these knuckles and hit that way with them. Okay, Wing Chun, okay, they don't normally punch from the side, they very often punch from the centre line. But with a Wing Chun experiment, when they position themselves and they punch down that centre line, from there, that knuckle is closest to the target. So it makes sense to hit with the knuckles closest to the target. If they try and hit with that one, they've got to really bend that wrist over to get it there, okay? And it's not quite a natural position to be in. There are some techniques in particular in karate. There's a punch which comes this way, and there's two main places you'll find it. One is Heian Nidan or Pinan Shodan, as it is in some styles, and it comes around this way, so there's a close-in punch. And it's also in Teki. Okay, it's the same punch, just a different stance. Now, again, if somebody's in front of me, if that's their face, now, if I'm aiming for the chin, okay, I'm aiming for the chin or the front of the face, it doesn't really matter too much which set of knuckles I use, okay? I can use either the big knuckles or the small knuckles. However, bear in mind the punch is actually starting from the side and is coming inwards to the target. It might be easier for me to punch the jawline, punching the jawline rather than the chin. So if I'm actually looking to hit the jawline, which means I'm coming in from the side a little bit, and I'm punching this way, it doesn't make sense to try and twist those knuckles round so I can strike with the big knuckles. It makes more sense to strike with the small knuckles. Okay, so with these techniques, okay, even in karate, we would be looking at punching with the small knuckles. Okay, even if it's a short punch coming in, Uzuki short punch, again, if you're not twisting the fist over, those knuckles are closest, they're the ones you want to hit with. When we turn the fist over, then those knuckles become the closest ones, and they're the ones we hit with. So it's an interesting little point, but it is quite important. Also with a number of our strikes, the same thing applies. Like I sometimes see people doing a shuto, and sometimes their hands like that. Now when they hit something, that wrist is going to collapse on the target and they're going to lose power. If they align those small knuckles with a forearm, bring it back a little bit, when it hits, there's no give, okay? Lining those knuckles up, there's a give, okay? So even when they're striking with the side of the hand, or a hand fist maybe, then again you want those knuckles aligned with the forearm so it doesn't give way or collapse. There are some exceptions to that rule, but normally it's for trapping. So sometimes, particularly in some styles of Kung Fu, like Wing Chun, they'll come across their block and they'll whip the hand over. So we've got very different positions to what I was talking about before. But they whip the hand over so they can grab, trap and pull. Okay, so if you're using it for trapping, it's different. But if you're using it for striking, if you're striking with this side, then normally you'd have these fingers or these knuckles aligned with the forearm. Okay, if you're striking with this side, whether it's a punch or a strike, then you'd align these knuckles with the forearm. So I hope you find that useful. If you enjoyed the video, please like or subscribe below, leave your feedback and leave your comments, and thank you for watching.